The 2023 Seattle Seahawks schedule is officially out, and there's a lot of takeaways from it. I'm going to give you my final prediction on the season, which it's going to be a pretty good team in my eyes. The schedule is tough. There's a lot of weird parts about the schedule, but if everything clicks and everything goes right, I don't see any reason why the Seahawks can't make this an extremely successful season. But I'm going to talk about some of the things I like in this schedule and some things I really don't like, and some other talking points from the schedule release. Make sure you like and subscribe if you like Seattle sports. I'm going to talk Seahawks and Mariners a lot on this page and some other NFL once in a while. And if you like NBA, check out my other page, at SammyOnTap2, TOO. Before I even get into the scheduled games and talking about what record I think we're going to come out with, I want to mention the primetime games. And I'm a little surprised the Seahawks have such a little amount. If you look at this, there are 4 teams with 6 primetime games, and none of them are surprising. It's the LA Chargers, which is a little bit surprising, but they have Justin Herbert, and it's Los Angeles. Kansas City, Buffalo, and Dallas. All understandable. 5 primetime games for the New York Jets. Of course, that's the Aaron Rodgers effect. Green Bay still has 5 because it's Green Bay. Minnesota, Las Vegas, Philadelphia, and San Francisco. I thought the Seahawks would probably sit somewhere around there. But you get to 4 primetime games for Detroit, Chicago, Denver, Baltimore, Cincinnati, New York Giants, New England, and Pittsburgh. And the Seahawks sit at only 3 primetime games, which is with New Orleans, Jacksonville, and Miami. That's quite shocking for a team that made the playoffs, and it's shocking for us to be below a team like Denver and the New York Giants, even though it's New York, I guess. But still, there's some teams up there that outside of the big city aspect, the Seahawks usually should get more than 3 primetime games. Now, we're not in the 2, 1, or 0 field, which there are a few teams there, and those are teams that you can probably expect, like Houston, Atlanta, Arizona, Washington, Tampa Bay, Cleveland, etc., etc. Teams that are not going to be very entertaining. The Seahawks at 3 is surprising to me, especially to be on that list with Jacksonville, Miami, and New Orleans. You would think the Seahawks have a little more pull on the TV schedule, but it is what it is. They also add some other games that feel like a primetime game because of the date. One of their primetime games is on Thanksgiving at 5 o'clock, the night game on Thanksgiving, which is a primetime. But they also have 2 other holiday type of games, which are December 24th, Christmas Eve, and December 31st, New Year's Eve. So the way the schedule is rolled out, one of them is a 10 a.m. game in Tennessee. The other one's New Year's Eve in Seattle against the Pittsburgh Steelers, a 1 o'clock game. But they are on holidays. Most people are off work. And in general, it's going to feel like a holiday to a Seahawks fan that's on a holiday watching the Seahawks. So there's a few more that feel like it, but everyone plays those days. Only 3 for the Seahawks is a little weird. And before I break down the rest of the schedule, I have to mention this bye week. The bye week at week 5 is very odd. It's a little too early in the season. You even saw DK Metcalf on the Seahawks Instagram post say, nah, redo. Week 5 bye week isn't it. This is not cool for the Seahawks, especially considering a week 5 bye week when you come to a point in November where in 11 days you're playing, what is that? That's 11 days you're playing 3 games from November 12th to November 23rd. You're playing a home game against Washington Commanders. You're playing a road game in LA and then back home on Thanksgiving against the 49ers. And then your schedule is 49ers. And then you have Dallas on back-to-back Thursday night games and then back to San Francisco and then home against the Eagles. That's when the schedule is getting really hard. Lots of travel, lots of competitive teams. And you got a week 5 bye week just kind of squished in there. It just doesn't feel right for the Seahawks in this situation. So I'm surprised and I don't like it there, especially considering I think the easiest part of our schedule is weeks 1 through 4. Our schedule is not easy in general, but that's one of the easier parts of our schedule. And to get the bye week at such a weird spot, I'm just not happy about it, and I don't think the players are going to be happy about it either. Week 5 is way too early for any team to have a bye week. I know they have to do it to work things out, but it's just too early. All right, let's get game to game. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like injuries don't happen, and, sometimes as a Seahawks fan, I can be biased, so there's going to be times where I might call a win where you'd be surprised, but I try my best to be somewhat open about things and not stick to my opinion too hard. So I'm going to call losses where I see losses, and I might change my mind on things that I've written on this list here. But I'm starting off at home, obviously a win against the Los Angeles Rams. I don't know what Matt Stafford's going to be. I don't know what direction the Rams are going in. They're a very odd football team to predict because they have veterans that have left, injuries. Matthew Stafford coming off of elbow surgery, which just is weird for a quarterback. I don't know what they're going to be. I don't even know if they know exactly this year what direction they're trending in. It's going to be a very interesting situation to see where they end up midway in this season and what that means for their future. But I'm going to call that a win at home. I would just be surprised a home opener week 1 to lose to Rams. Week 2 in Detroit. Now, I almost called this a loss in the East Coast, 10 a.m. game. Detroit's only getting better. But I see the Seahawks winning this game. I just still think, despite really liking the Detroit Lions, I truly do, and they helped us get into the playoffs last year, so I'll forever be in debt to the Detroit Lions, and I will never be upset with the Detroit Lions because they really did help us, and it means a lot. But I still don't necessarily believe in Jared Goff as a guy that's going to win you long-term games. I don't know. Long-term, they're not going to be super duper good with Jared Goff. And I love Dan Campbell. I want him to have a job in the NFL for the rest of his career, but I still don't know if he's a good coach or not. I think he's a good motivator, good people guy, whatever you want to call it, a guy that's very lovable for a fan like me. But I don't know if he can outcoach Pete Carroll. In week 2 in a season where the Seahawks have only gotten so much better than they were last year, I'm calling that a win. Week 3 at home against the Carolina Panthers, I'm not going to say much. They're not going to be very good. That's going to be a win in my book. And then just to be realistic here, I'm going to go first loss against the New York Giants. The New York Giants are also a team that kind of reminds me of the Seahawks. They're getting better every single year. They're building every single year, and they're moving in the right direction. It's on the road in New York on Monday Night Football. I just think at some point, I'm not the biased type that's going to sit here and say the Seahawks are going to win every single game, every single year. I think that might be a loss. New York Giants on the road, Monday Night Football, right before a bye week. It could happen. Then that awful bye week at week 5, which is not fair and doesn't make sense, but it is what it is. It's right there. I'm going to go for a loss in week 6 against the Cincinnati Bengals. I just don't foresee the Seahawks going in after already winning one East Coast game against the Lions at 10 a.m. to go to Cincinnati, an even better team, Joe Burrow and the Bengals. That's only getting better also. I'm going to have to give them a loss there. I couldn't. It's either the Lions or the Bengals, and I realistically think we'll beat the Lions, lose to the Bengals, and we'll be sitting at 3-2 to start the season right there. After that, I'm going back-to-back wins. I'm not going to talk about it too much. We don't even know if Kyler Murray is going to be back week 7 when we play the Cardinals at home. We have the Cardinals number right now, so I'm going to go win against the Cardinals while we're at home week 7, a normal schedule for us, to put us at 4-2. And then 5-2 with the win against Cleveland. Deshaun Watson was not it last year. I don't in any way see this team getting that much better. I don't foresee them to become a super good team. They have a hard division. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, even with Deshaun Watson, even if he got better. I like this as a win at home again. So win against the Cardinals and the Browns, which would put us 5-2 on the year going into week 9. Baltimore on the road, that's a really hard one to win. And like I said, you have to lose some games, so I don't want to be added in the comments that I'm a bad Seahawks fan for thinking we're going to have some losses. We're going to have some losses. Loss in Baltimore, another 10 a.m. game. Those AFC games on the road are going to be really hard. 10 a.m., a team you don't see often, in the East Coast, at their place. You guys know how much travel the Seahawks do because of being in Seattle in the deep corner of America. That's just a tough one. That's a loss for me here at this point with 3 losses, which is totally fine. 5-3 going into week 10, I'll live with that. That's a great record. And then I have the Seahawks going on a 4-game win streak. I see them beating the Washington Commanders at home. I'm not concerned about where that football team's going. I think they're going in the backwards negative direction, whatever you want to call it. That's a win. Like I said with the Rams, I don't believe in them, even though it's on the road. I'm going to give it another win. Thanksgiving against the 49ers. Now, this is where the schedule gets extremely tough. I cannot lie. We have the San Francisco 49ers, the Dallas Cowboys, back to the Niners, to the Eagles. And then on the road in Tennessee. And then at home, the Steelers. That's a tough part of the schedule. Despite what I even think about the Steelers or Titans, doesn't even matter what I think about them. after facing San Francisco, Dallas, San Francisco, Philadelphia. To go to the road to Tennessee, it's going to be a hard game regardless. And that team's well coached. I don't know who their quarterback situation is going to be. I don't know what's going to be going on with them at that point in the season. I don't know how good they're going to be, but it's always going to be tough. Derrick Henry's going to be there, and it's hard to stop the run for the Seahawks specifically. But I do like a 4-game winning streak potentially here. A win against the Washington Commanders, the Rams, the San Francisco 49ers at home on Thanksgiving. Those seem just like Seahawks games you win. You're in your hometown. Seattle, Thanksgiving night at 5:30 against your rival. I'm just going to give us a win on that. And then the following week, 7 days rest, you play the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday Night Football on the road. And I'm going to give the Seahawks a win there. I think this is when the Seahawks get hot in the season. After that loss to Baltimore in week 9, you can go ahead and win 4 straight games. And you start putting your name on the map. I know it's going to be tough to beat San Francisco on Thanksgiving and then go beat Dallas Thursday Night Football on the road the following week, but I actually believe in the Seahawks doing that. So I think that's kind of their hot streak in the season where the league's put on notice. They might say, damn, this team just won back-to-back primetime games. Maybe they're better than we thought. Maybe Pete Carroll, Geno Smith, that whole offense, that whole defense is a lot better than we actually believed. I'm going to be modest and throw a loss against the San Francisco 49ers on the road. After a 4-game winning streak, so many big games, travel, holidays, whatever you want to call, a lot of Thursday night football. I'm just going to be realistic and go with a loss against San Francisco. Just going to call it a split on the season. I think those two teams are going to be the 2 best teams in the NFC West and fighting for the 2 best teams in the NFC with teams like the Eagles specifically. That's going to be a serious matchup. San Francisco, Seattle, it's like the 2015, 16, whatever, 14 even times. Those 2 teams are going to be top of the NFC is how I'm feeling. And then it's Eagles at home and then Tennessee on the road. What I wrote down originally was a win against the Eagles because it's at home, just coming off a loss on the road to the 49ers, and then a loss against Tennessee on the road. Now, I don't know which one it's going to be, but I'm going to just say one of those 2 will happen. 1 win, 1 loss. I don't see ourselves beating Philadelphia, let's say at home, and then flying to Tennessee and winning another one. Because the rest of the schedule, I think it would just be unrealistic for this team to be a 13-win team. It's where I'm kind of leaning right now. If I did back-to-back wins, I'm being realistic. So I'm just going to give it a win against the Eagles, make it fun because it's at home against the defending NFC champs, but make ourselves known. And then you might take a loss in Tennessee the next week. So at that point, we'd be a 10-5 football team with just 2 weeks to go. I'd see us coming home and being able to beat the Steelers, knowing it's an important game to put us at 11-5. I just think we'll be a better football team than them. And I think we'll still be pushing at 11-5, probably around the same record as a team like the San Francisco 49ers. So we're not going to be resting starters on a week like week 18. We're going to be looking to win that division. And I think we will beat Arizona on the road in Phoenix, which we tend to do as long as nobody gets hurt, as long as it's not cursed. I would love to see that be a win and have this team sit at 12-5. Now, what I would love even more is to call that a loss. It was rested starters, already won the division, because that would be a great way to make up for that awful week 5 bye week. I can't predict what's going to happen. I know the 49ers are going to be a good football team, so I can't tell you that we'd have the division locked up or I don't want the 49ers to have it locked up either at that point. So that's where I'm seeing it at. I want to know how you're feeling too. In the comments, what are the records for the Seattle Seahawks? I'm sitting at 12-5 right now. I'm kind of leaning. There might be another loss in there. I'm leaning somewhere between that 11-6 and 12-5 range, which is just amazing considering the fact that we traded away Russell Wilson just last year. Many people thought it was a rebuild. Instead, we took one stepping stone making the playoffs, and now it's time to make another stepping stone into the season to go from a 9-win team to hopefully a 11 or 12-win team if possible, considering all the great things we did this offseason. So I'm excited, and I want to know what you guys think in the comments. I'm Sammy on Tap. I make Seattle sports content. I'm going to mix in some other NFL once in a while. Whatever you guys want to see in the comments, let me know what you want to see from my channel, and I will do some Mariners here and there because I love Seattle sports. And at Sammy on Tap 2, TOO. Same username as here, but add TOO. That is my NBA channel, so check that out on TikTok, YouTube, everywhere as well. I love y'all for the support, and let's go Hawks.